Trump's response to the truth to the, oh, dude, yeah, let's do the Letitia James. Donald Trump's family and organization is under hot water by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Just recently held a press conference this morning. You guys might remember who Letitia James is from the NRA investigation that she conducted as well. She's pretty decent, I would say. I believe she's also running for New York governor, or was running for New York governor. She's pretty good, dare I say. That's the best that you will ever get out of me from someone who is even in the realm of politics in any meaningful shape or form. Here, let's take a look at what she had to say.
We are filing a lawsuit against Donald Trump for violating the law as part of his efforts to generate profits for himself, his family, and his company. The complaint demonstrates that Donald Trump falsely inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself and to cheat the system, thereby cheating all of us. He did this with the help of the other defendant.
Don't worry, guys. This is politics, so Letitia James will not fucking yell at me if I don't do a neutral face. My reaction to this information will not be neutral faced. I will be reacting hard as fuck, okay? One way or the other.
His children, Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump, and former Trump Organization CFO Alan Weisselberg and Trump Organization Controller Jeffrey McConney. Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization repeatedly and persistently manipulated the value of assets to induce banks to lend money to the Trump Organization on more favorable terms than would otherwise have been available to the company, to pay lower taxes, to satisfy continuing loan agreements, and to induce insurance companies to provide insurance coverage for higher limits and at lower premiums. This conduct was all in violation of Executive Law, Section 6312, which gives the Attorney General broad and special powers to go after persistent and repeated fraud and illegality. As part of demonstrating illegality under that section of Law 6312, we show that they violated several state criminal laws, including falsifying business records, issuing false financial statements.
This is the least shocking piece of information about the Trump organization, Trump campaign. Like, literally every... Man, stop linking the bot. Fucking idiot. It's a phishing link, and you're linking it in the chat now. God, my subscribers are so fucking stupid. I swear to God. Like, even as a joke, dude. Some dummy is gonna literally click on it. Like, what's wrong with you?
Insurance fraud, and engaging in a conspiracy to commit each of these state law violations. We believe the conduct alleged in this action also violates federal criminal law, including issuing false statements to financial institutions and bank fraud. And we are referring those criminal violations that we've uncovered to the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York and the Internal Revenue Service. As a result of these violations, we are asking the court to, among other things, permanently bar Mr. Trump, Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump, from serving as an officer or director in any corporation or similar entity registered and or licensed in New York. To bar Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization from entering into any New York State commercial real estate acquisition or from applying for loans from any financial institution.
Damn. Trump is done, and not just on Twitch, dude. He's done in New York as well. That's pretty crazy. Dude, even Barron caught an L on that one.
In New York for 5 years to pay for the financial benefits obtained as a result of the persistent fraudulent practices at an estimated $250 million.
Here's how Donald Trump responded. Another witch hunt by a racist attorney general, Letitia James. Racist. Why? Anti-white racist. Or she did also attack Cuomo. Maybe she's anti-Italian racist. Who knows? Failed in her run for governor, getting almost zero support from the public, and now is doing poorly against Law and Order Attorney General candidate, highly respected Michael Henry. Never thought this case would be brought until I saw her really bad poll numbers. She's a fraud who campaigned on a Get Trump platform, despite the fact that the city is one of the crime and murder disasters of the world under her watch. Attorney General Letitia Peekaboo James? Wait, what? Is that racial? That's like, because there's a, isn't there a word that's like, sounds like that, but that is, what? I'm not clicking on random links like that. Yeah, you change like 2 letters on that word without changing much else, and it turns into a anti-black word. A total crime-fighting disaster in New York is spending all of her time fighting for the... I like that he first called her racist, and then literally did like a lighter version of like an actual anti-black racist term. Like in a matter of moments. Is spending all of her time fighting for the very powerful and well-represented banks and insurance companies who are fully paid, made a lot of money, and never had to complain about me, instead of fighting murder and violent crime, which is killing New York State. The failed attorney general, whose lack of talent in the fight against crime is causing record numbers of people and companies to flee New York. Bye-bye. Now you're just stretching it? Why else would he say that? Because it sounds like, I mean, look, maybe he didn't mean it, okay? But that's such a random thing to just drop in there. Bye-bye. Infantilizing. He's saying like, peekaboo, I see you at the top of the hour. There's a 60-second ad break. Is that what he's saying? And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Believe me. Which you can do for $5 or for free. With a Twitch Prime. By connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, believe me, folks, you can get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Nobody does it like I do it. You can also get gifted a sub, folks. If you're lucky, that is. Here's the 1-minute ad break now. Okay. Migrants sent to Martha's Vineyard have filed a lawsuit against Ron DeSantis. You guys already know the drama. I don't know why I'm like covering news stories with like Ludwig doing mogul mail tone now. It's so weird. I feel like my brain has been wired in this really twisted, fucked up way in an irreparable capacity. Like, boys, the plan is simple. Ron DeSantis wanted to clout shark his way to the top so he can go against Donald Trump. In order to do that, though, he had to be in the media all the time. So one of the things he did, what did he do? Well, he followed Governor of Texas, Greg Abbott's lead, and decided to ship migrants from the state of Texas to numerous places. Now, Governor Greg Abbott was doing this for a while. He shipped and bussed a bunch of Venezuelan migrants from Texas up to D.C., specifically to random and irrelevant places in D.C., like the front steps of the Capitol building. This was, of course, done voluntarily. However, it was done to make a political statement. Greg Abbott's sentiment about this issue, of course, was that blue states, even though Texas is technically, D.C. is not a state, should bear the burden of the undocumented migrants. Now, of course, Texas was famously fighting back against Title 42, the Donald Trump era COVID provision that stopped asylum seekers, a legal action, from actually legally seeking asylum in the United States of America, and they were being promptly and swiftly deported. However, Venezuelans, on the other hand, are have different legal status that other Guatemalan, Mexican, and numerous other Latin American country migrants and refugees do not have. They have temporary protected status as a consequence of America not having diplomatic relations with the country of Venezuela due to America's anti-communist stance. But back to Governor Ron DeSantis. He decided to get in on the action, make a name for himself, as he always does, because he's a clout shark. He flew 50 Venezuelan migrants using a $12 million fund that he's put together and flew them out to what he called one of the wealthiest, most elite places, Martha's Vineyard. Now, of course, these guys were completely unprompted. They were lied to. And for that reason, Ron DeSantis is now in a little bit of trouble. There was a Texas sheriff that actually had some words. He said that he was going to bring up a criminal lawsuit against Ron DeSantis. The migrants that were duped, who did not speak English, were also now filing a lawsuit against DeSantis himself. Let's take a look.
Nobody can deny that there's a crisis.
This morning, Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis facing backlash for his decision to fly 48 Venezuelan migrants to Martha's Vineyard last week. Attorneys representing some of those migrants filing a lawsuit late Tuesday against DeSantis and other Florida officials, accusing them of a premeditated, fraudulent, and illegal scheme to transport them to the island. The suit, which is seeking class action status in Massachusetts, says the migrants were lured with incentives like McDonald's gift certificates and free hotel stays, and were promised jobs, housing, and educational opportunities if they boarded planes to other states. DeSantis maintains the flights were voluntary and that migrants signed a consent form shared overnight by his office, who responded to the lawsuit writing, "Florida's program gave them a fresh start in a sanctuary state, and these individuals opted to take advantage of chartered flights to Massachusetts."
If 50 was a burden on one of the richest places in our country, what about all these other communities that have been overrun with hundreds or thousands?
The lawsuit.
Now, of course, one of the interesting parts about this story is that Florida has a gigantic Venezuelan population. People that have sought asylum in the past have moved from Venezuela to Florida. So the idea that Ron DeSantis is using these 50 Venezuelans as a political tool makes it additionally weird and might end up backfiring on him. Here's the sheriff that also wanted to charge Ron DeSantis criminally.
The lawsuit comes 2 days after a Texas sheriff announced a criminal investigation into the flights, which originated in his state. Sheriff Javier Salazar, a Democrat, says the migrants were lured with false promises of work and assistance. Massachusetts Republican Governor Charlie Baker says he supports the sheriff's investigation, but is also urging the Biden administration and Congress to enact sweeping immigration and border security reform.
I'd like to see the feds create an immigration policy that people can understand and people can enforce and people can abide by. We don't have that.
Homeland Security reports illegal border crossings have hit a record high, totaling more than 2 million in the last 11 months.
And on Tuesday, there were unconfirmed rumors a plane carrying migrants was heading to President Biden's home state of Delaware. The White House said it was coordinating with state officials to prepare. Volunteer groups stood by to help. Reporters and camera crews staked out airports, but the plane and the migrants never arrived, landing at New Jersey's Teterboro Airport, appearing not to have any passengers on board. Hoda.
All right, Emily Aketa for us there in D.C. Emily, on that story. Thank you.
There it is. Ron DeSantis' methods are backfiring, but here he is gaining momentum and going on Fox News and trying to use this as an opportunity to get more political clout.
County in Texas is also investigating Ron DeSantis. They are accusing him of, quote, leaving migrants to fend for themselves in Martha's Vineyard. Here to respond, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. You know, the great irony in all.
Okay, no, let me just say this much. Okay, no matter what Fox News tries to do to spin this story and turn it into a good story for Ron DeSantis, no matter what happens, the reality is Ron DeSantis didn't even use migrants that were coming into Florida. He literally went in and interfered. He interfered with Texan affairs. He saw Greg Abbott doing something and thought, this is my opportunity to shine. That's what's really fucking weird about it, too. Now, obviously, the White House had a horrible take on this matter as well, for the record. The White House, instead of using this as an opportunity to dunk on DeSantis, say, hey, that we have these wonderful communities that can take care of them, also wanted to dunk on, I don't know, communism. That's a little weird. Let's take a look at what our wonderful press secretary had to say about why these Venezuelan migrants are coming in to the United States of America.
These people are fleeing communism, as we have said, as you heard DHS say as well. Falling authoritarian regimes in Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba are causing a new migration challenge across the Western Hemisphere. Let's remember, these folks are fleeing communism. When you think about Venezuela, what's going on in Venezuela, when you think about what's going on in Nicaragua, when you think about what's going on in Cuba, they are fleeing political persecution only to be used as a political pawn by the Florida governor. They are using people who are leaving a communist countries as a political stunt. So the way that we see it is alerting Fox News and not city or state officials about a plan to abandon children fleeing communism on the side of the street is not.
We get it. They're fleeing communism. 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 Holy fuck.
Not burden sharing. That is not the definition that we see of burden sharing. It is a cruel.
How about the real blacklisting here? Okay. The idea that like these are nations that are fucking somehow impacted by communism and not America fucking completely destroying, blackballing them and making them not even fucking participate in the international marketplace. Like, it's insane. These are all countries that have been sanctioned. These are all countries that have been embargoed out the hell. They have blockades. They're sanctioned so hard that other countries that even try to participate in their economy also get blacklisted. Ridiculous. These people are fleeing communism in the Western Hemisphere, says Haitian American Corinne Jean-Pierre, while naming countries currently under debilitating U.S. sanctions and ignoring capitals, ones like Haiti, that the U.S. plus corporations exploit while whipping Haitians at the border. Yeah, true. That's another unique point of irony there.
Premeditated political stunt. That is not what that is what they are doing. They have used the lives of people who are fleeing persecution from communist countries, using them as a political stunt.
Yeah, no, it's just, it's so infantilizing. It's like, yeah, they just, communism equals bad economy. And these people are in the dire situation that they're in because bad economy. They just, great stuff. Anyway, here, more from Ron DeSantis.
Problem is we're not seeing mass movements of them into Florida. So you end up with a car with maybe two. And if we know that that's illegal and there's someone that's kind of smuggling, then committing crime, then you can do arrest. There have been...
Motherfucker said the problem is there aren't enough undocumented Venezuelans coming into Florida. So is it a problem or is it not a problem? Like, what the fuck?
drug seizures, but that's not effective enough to stop the mass migration, but it's just coming in onesie-twosies. So we've had people on the border for last summer. We've done a lot of intelligence, and everyone down there will say between a third and 40% of the people coming across are seeking to end up in Florida. And so we have to go and figure out, okay, who are those people likely to be? And if you can do it at the source and divert to sanctuary jurisdictions, the chance they end up in Florida is much less. The problem is we're not seeing mass movements of them into Florida. So you end up...
How long are you going to ignore Masa Amini, Iran? I'm not. I don't know why you have this like accusatory tone. Like you're making it seem like I'm purposely... What? Like, do people think I have like a stake in this? Like I have a dog in this or something? Every single person that's like come into the chat, because I haven't even talked... No, I haven't talked about it yet. Every single person that has brought this up so far in the chat has done it to in the weirdest way possible, where they're like, dude, like what do you think Iranian police brutality is like? Like you think Iranian people rising up against police brutality as a consequence of the fucking morality police is going to not be up my alley? Like what do you mean? Like you think I'm weirdly in support of like Iranian police brutality? Is that the implication? They don't come in here to be like, hey, there's this thing that's happening right now. I don't know if you heard about it. Like some people do that, but most people that come in are just literally like, most people are just like going fucking crazy. I'm not pro or anti hijab. I'm pro freedom. If you want to fucking choose to wear the hijab, you should be able to do so without the government telling you you can't, especially in Western nations. And if you don't want to wear it in a country where it is literally something you have to do, then I'm pro not wearing it if you don't want to. That's crazy. So let me just get these fucking principles that I have out of the way for all these fucking dumbasses who don't understand. Yeah, I know my reaction is not very neutral right now. Sorry, I can't put my normal neutral react face on. I can do that for you if you want. But people have been freaking out about it. I only know brief details. I'm not entirely familiar, partially because, you know, the platform that I've been on and love and have built my community on has been on fucking fire for like the past week. So, you know, it's kind of been a thing. I know that this is probably going to be a controversial person to cover the story on, but I'm going to look at what she has to say anyway.
My normal fun fact videos today, but I've gotten a lot of comments and DMs in the past 24 hours asking me to talk about this, and I feel like it's a situation that needs to be addressed. So, Iran's morality police recently picked up a 22-year-old woman off the streets for violating their compulsory veiling laws, aka the hijab laws. Her name is Mahsa Amini, and agents told her brother, who they took her away from, that she would be released in an hour after taking a hijab class to be convinced and educated, but that didn't happen. Her family found her in the hospital, in a coma, pronounced brain dead. Police beat this woman to death over a dress code. These morality police are known to harass women, okay? Slapping them, beating them with batons, dragging them by their hair, forcing them into vans, and then running over family members who try to fight and get their loved ones back. A lot
of... You're not reacting to something right away? You're on the bad side of whatever you didn't cover? Yeah, I know. Okay, here it is. Why Iranian women are burning their hijabs after the death of Mahsa Amini. Iranian women are burning their hijabs and cutting their hair short in protest over the death of Mahsa Amini, a young woman who died after being arrested in Tehran by Iran's notorious morality police who enforce the country's rules on hijabs and other conservative Islamic modes of dress and behavior. Notice how this NPR article says conservative Islamic modes of dress and behavior. For those of you who think like the entirety of the Islamic world is on board with everything that like anyone has ever done, I already know Hassan's take is going to be bad on this. Hassan's going to... No, don't ban him. Don't ban him. No, I want to know what he thinks is a bad take on this. Notice how the word conservative plays a role in here, because things like the morality police or people who are fundamentalist Islamists, these people are conservatives. They're like the white evangelical Protestants and the psychotic like Christian weirdos in America, but in a country where they have even more power and even more control. Part of the reason why these extremists these extreme conservatives, extreme right-wingers have more control in countries like this is directly a consequence of America's intervention in said countries. Iran is you can literally put a direct line into how Iran turned into this theocratic nightmare, as a matter of fact, when the socialist leadership wanted to nationalize its oil refineries and its its extraction industry in general, but it was owned by British Petroleum at the time, and America and the UK directly interfered, okay, facilitated a coup d'etat, and in the aftermath of said coup d'etat, of course, the most extreme, most hyper-nationalist, and most fundamentalist anti-American elements in the country overtook and were and have been in power ever since. So, but that's besides the point, okay? That's what happens when you kill all the socialists in a country, but that's besides the point. So here's what we know so far about Amini's death, okay? And the public fear it ignited and the questions that remain. Amini was arrested for allegedly breaking the hijab rules in countries like this. There are, morality police and hijab rules. I personally think it's completely and fundamentally unacceptable. I don't know why. Bro, you just call Christians psychotic? No, I said psychotic Christians, like hyper right-wing psycho Christians. Like, ones that are like, you can't have an abortion, like you should die if you have, if you have a stillborn thing inside of you, like you should just fucking die from internal bleeding. Like, I'm talking about those guys. Those guys are psychotic. Do you think that that's not a psychotic person? Not every Christian is like this, obviously. I've never had a catch-all monolithic understanding of how people consider religion to be. That's not just Catholics. That's ridiculous. As a matter of fact, it's mostly evangelical Protestants. White evangelical Protestants are significantly more anti-abortion than the broader Catholic religion, even though Catholics are pretty fucking anti-abortion as well. As a matter of fact, the the most prominent Catholic voice in the country, Paul Weyrich, realized that evangelical Christians, white evangelical Christians, were significantly more racist than the Catholics themselves as a broader majority and could politically mobilize them. And that's precisely why we even have this like anti-abortion movement in the country to begin with. Learn your American history before you just fucking cast the blame on, Catholics or one group or another, okay? The Al-Qaeda boys are the white evangelical Protestant Christians. Okay. So, where were we? I am not an r/Reddit atheist who's like, I just hate all religion or whatever. I understand that it could be a tool for, guidance for some people. Everyone believes in dumb shit. A lot of people still believe in capitalism, so it doesn't even fucking matter. But also on top of that, we know the psycho-Christians are, we know there are psycho-Christians though. Aren't both extremes wrong? My friend, I'm going to say this to you one time. I knew you were going to do this. I am saying that the fundamentalist, extremist, right-wing Muslims are, of course, in the fucking wrong. But you, guided by whatever your precognitive biases were, literally are not hearing the words that are coming out of my mouth as I am covering this story. Why are you in here if you don't want to hear my feedback? If you're just going to fucking jerk yourself off about the preconceived notions that you had of me, then you don't have to be in here. The only reason why I would bring up Al-Qaeda or the psychotic fucking Christian evangelicals, as a matter of fact, is so that people in here in America understand that Islam, just like Christianity, is not fucking monolithic. Because I am talking to a Western audience. I am talking to English speakers primarily. And American speakers need to understand with examples from their own fucking backyard. That's why I'm doing it. Anyway. Thank you for conceding, though. At least you didn't continue down the fucking brain rot, as I suspected you might. Holy shit. Amini was arrested for allegedly breaking hijab rules. Okay, she died at the age of 22 in northern Tehran. She had been arrested on Tuesday and reportedly was taken to a hospital shortly afterwards. She suffered multiple blows to the head before she died, according to the London-based broadcaster Iran International. Amini was arrested in her brother's car during a visit to see family members in the capital. The outlet reported she was originally from Saqqez in the Kurdistan province. They beat her to death in custody. You know anything about, police brutality? You understand that, this is a universal principle, okay? Made only worse by the authoritarian theocratic regime in Iran. Does not change the reality that America's actions against Iran are completely and wholeheartedly, utterly unacceptable. Denuclearization agreements should have been followed through on. Iran does not deserve the sanctions because those sorts of sanctions are just collective punishment, which is otherwise a war crime, but not when America does it. Okay? Those people that are suffering are doubly suffering as a consequence of our actions in the international stage. However, that's not the main point here. Let's continue. Amini's family says officers beat her in the police van after her arrest, citing eyewitnesses who supported the claim. Police are, of course, rejecting the allegations. Like I said, if you know anything about police brutality, you already know. We investigated ourselves and decided that there was no wrongdoing. Saying Amini died after being taken to a hospital because she had a heart attack. Even then, it would still be your fault if you are the one who beat her so hard that she would have had a heart attack. But that's not even what happened. They concussed her, and she was brain dead. Senior officials are promising a full investigation, including President Ebrahim Raisi, who called Amini's family on Sunday to assure them her death would be investigated. Your daughter is like my own daughter, and I feel that this incident happened to one of my loved ones, he said. Iran's Chief Justice Mohseni Ejei has also promised a full investigation. The United Nations called for an impartial inquiry into Amini's death. Mahsa Amini's tragic death and allegations of torture and ill treatment must be promptly, impartially, and effectively investigated by an independent, competent authority that ensures in particular that her family has access to justice and truth. A lot of posturing from the Western world here. They are on the right side, but also remember that the same Western authorities that would say we need an impartial third-party investigator had a sure had a hard time when talking about the unjustifiable war crime and the execution of a famous Palestinian journalist in a raid that the IDF was conducting in one of the camps. So, great clip of your position on religion. Okay, liberation theology is an example of good religion. And the justification for slavery, also found within Christian doctrine, is an example of bad religion. Okay, it's just a tool. But some of you guys are incredibly sheltered and refuse to recognize that, like, a big chunk of the fucking planet still have these ideas, and they're not as inherently hostile towards them as you are. Okay? And if you want to build, like, an internationalist perspective, an internationalist movement, or if you want to be more understanding of others and empathize with the way that they've grown up, you have to also allow them to believe that you don't believe in. As long as they are not hurting solidarity, as long as they're not using their religious beliefs to personally personally turn around and abuse marginalized people further. Okay, liberation theology is there you go. A photo of Amini lying comatose in a hospital is the heart of the rallying cry for Iranians who want more freedoms and rights for women. Yes, the story I was referencing with respect to the occupying force was the Abu Akleh story. The Abu Akleh family has submitted a formal complaint calling on the international community to investigate the murder of Shireen Abu Akleh. Remember, the Israeli propaganda immediately coming after, saying that her death was not in the hands of an Israeli sniper who purposefully, knowing full well that she was a journalist, as was indicated by her gear at the time, shot and killed her through her helmet, shooting her directly in the neck. Okay. The government has pointed to its own images to prove Amini wasn't beaten in custody. Shortly after her death, Iranian police released surveillance camera footage part of her arrest. Video shows the woman suddenly collapsing on a chair while she was talking by a female police in the police station. After they beat her. This is Iran's George Floyd moment. British Iranian actor Omid Djalili said in a video posted online, drawing a parallel between demonstrators who want the change in Iran and Americans who call for police reforms after Floyd's death in custody. There's social media movement around it as well. And women are now burning their hijabs in protest in their demonstrations. They've been demonstrating for nearly a week, with some women setting their headscarves on fire in the streets. Video shared by BBC lead presenter Rana Rahimpour shows women standing on top of burning police cars, rallying against the Islamic Republic. One question is whether this will stay as a hijab protest or mushroom into a larger anti-government movement. At least 7 people are reported to have been killed since the protest began throughout Iran, according to the BBC. And from what I understand, they have blackouts. They've done blackouts on the internet as well every now and then. So yeah, the government cut out the internet completely and is killing people in the streets. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. IG and WhatsApp are currently down in Iran. And yeah. This is already an anti-government movement? Yeah, of course. What? Fuck Iran. Keep in mind that this is National Pentagon Radio. It doesn't matter. Yes, I'm sure that the American State Department will use any opportunity it can to destabilize Iran as best as they can. But ultimately, this is, once again, a legitimate movement of people who are not happy with a insanely oppressive, regime that is authoritarian, and fundamentalist right-wing religious. In 2019, an Iranian woman named Sahar Kodayari was dressed up as a man to sneak into the stadium and watch a men's soccer match. When the 29-year-old was arrested by the police, she learned she could spend 6 months in jail, and Kodayari set herself on fire in protest and died. And the incident sparked outrage in the country and beyond over the strict rules and consequences for breaking those rules that women in Iran face every day. Gender-based violence against women, including so-called honor killings, continues in Iran. The country's laws do little to protect them, experts say. In a tweet in response to Amini's death, Robert Malley, the U.S. Special Envoy for Iran, called on the country to increase protections for women. From the country that is, allowing millions of women to no longer have access to abortion, which can end up in a deadly way for them, whether because they got a back alley abortion or because they, had a pregnancy complication and could no longer get the adequate medical treatment. We are doing that. Just saying, everybody has different ways of fucking over women. Just remember that. Can you get an abortion in Iran? Yes. But that doesn't make them better in terms of women. Do not misunderstand me. It's not only the hijab. People are tired of the dictatorship and getting treated like garbage. I think part of that is the economic destabilization that America has put on top of Iran. For the record. It's just overall economic instability, volatility caused by that. The government takes actions that are more strict than usual in times like this. And here we are. Putin declares partial mobilization as war in Ukraine escalates. Let's talk about Russia.
There sure is a lot of news. We're going to start with the war in Ukraine. As President Biden prepares to address the United Nations General Assembly this morning, Vladimir Putin is raising the stakes. He is signaling a major escalation in the war.
And overnight, Vladimir Putin addressed the Russian people for the first time since the invasion began. In a moment, our exclusive with National Security official John Kirby. But first, let's go to Tom Sufi Burridge on the scene in Ukraine. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael. It's a huge moment in this war. A lot of Putin's rhetoric this morning about Russia being under threat was predictable. But the Kremlin's move to annex a large swathe of Ukraine is a major escalation. And make no mistake, Putin is making these moves because Russia's military campaign here in Ukraine is failing.
This morning, in a rare TV address on the war in Ukraine, Vladimir Putin appearing to threaten a nuclear strike against the West. Saying those who are trying to blackmail us with nuclear weapons should know that the wind can turn in their direction. Putin adding, this is not a bluff. With Russia sustaining heavy losses on the battlefield, Putin also now bringing in a partial draft. His defense minister saying 300,000 men with...
Not a war, by the way. We're winning, boys. We're winning. We're winning, boys. It's very good. Not a war. Strategic placement. And also winning at the same time, but not a war. But if it was a war, winning the war, but not a war. Tito, thank you for the 5 get the subs.
Reservist experience will be called up to fight in Ukraine, claiming less than 6,000 Russian soldiers have been killed in the war. Western officials estimating 20,000.
Yeah, he's sending in 300,000 soldiers to do a peacekeeping operation. And it's actually 3,000 people that will celebrate the victory. That's why. It's actually really nice stuff that he's doing.
With another 60,000 Russian troops injured. And in another major escalation, Russia also moving to declare large areas of eastern and southern Ukraine, which its troops occupy, as part of Russia. The Kremlin planning to stage referendum votes in those areas later this week. The US rejecting Russia's actions, calling the votes a sham. Putin upping the stakes as Ukrainian forces continue to retake ground. Here, Ukrainian troops marching into a village in Luhansk, showing Russia no longer has full control of that eastern region. And in the same area, incendiary shells raining down on a village recently liberated by Ukrainian forces, according to Ukraine's Ministry of Defense releasing the video.
George, by moving to annex a large part of eastern and southern Ukraine, Putin is trying to signal that attacks on those territories will be seen by Moscow as attacks on Russian land. President Zelensky will address the UN General Assembly via video.
You think it's saying it's not a war as a meme makes people think you're pro-U.S.? I'm definitely... I don't think anybody thinks I'm pro-U.S. Let's be real. I mean, the fact that I've been comparing Russia's actions to the United States of America from the jump, which of course triggered so many motherfuckers because they think the United States is good, should have shown them that I'm not pro-U.S. nor am I pro-Russia. But... but some people are literally like, no, it's good when we do it. So they get really mad when you compare that. In my mind, it's the worst thing you can say. People probably think you're a Russian op too. Yeah, there are still people on the internet that fucking lie about that.
Link later, as will President Biden in person. The president expected to deliver a stinging rebuke of Putin's war here in Ukraine.
Hi, everyone.
There are anti-conscription protests already. People are getting arrested. What? People have been sending me this. What? So many of you motherfuckers sent me this clip. Hassan, a year later, when Pokey and Frogan are his only besties left on her, why is this person's head so tiny? We were going to talk about what the gambling industry does. Okay, we covered the Iranian thing. AP News article: Capitol siege, U.S. Supreme Court, Donald Trump what? Virginia Thomas agrees to what? Oh my God! You see that? Fucking see that? Someone really hated your Mexican gritos. Dude loses his shit and attacks a projector after watching a meme with Kamala Harris. Bro, come on. It wasn't that bad, dude.
Does sound pretty good.
I know. We'll have to go to another location.
Yeah, we can probably hit Battle Creek.
There we go. That's fine.
Yeah, we can do that. We can go to Battle Creek. Yeah.
I like those mushroom Swiss.
Hello.
And then the spicy chicken.
Are we not being verbal?
Yeah, that mushroom Swiss does sound
We're
really
just
good.
trying to have a conversation. We're not trying to yell at you guys.
I do like the Crunchwrap Supreme.
I like the cheesy bean and rice from
What's going on today?
I like the Burrito Supreme. It's
They're charging you $5 for that.
Are they really?
Thing now.
Really? That
Sir,
must be the extra sour cream.
Either
that's
way,
in there.
can we just have a
Yeah, they
civil
must be putting extra sour cream in
conversation
it.
about this?
Right. I
Yeah.
always add extra sour cream, so that puts it over $5.
Yeah.
Damn, dog. Extra sour cream? I've never heard that move before. Straight up. Like that's a wild move, bro. I mean, ignoring the police, good move. Extra sour cream in the burrito, wild. That's too much. That's too much. I don't even like a little bit of sour cream in my burrito usually. I mean, I do, but like I feel like it's just high calorie. You know what I mean? It's too high calorie. You don't need to take that. You don't need to take that L. Unsubbing? I mean, I like sour cream. I just can't have it. Okay? Chill.
Really, it does.
Just for one simple burrito that I can make at home for like 50 cents.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. Totally insane.
Gentlemen, can we have a conversation about what's going on?
Nope. Did you do gender studies on uni? No. What?
For their beloved country. Ohio is the state that gave us American heroes, icons, and legends with names like Neil Armstrong, Annie Oakley, and the great General and President Ulysses S. Grant. He's really come back a long way over the last 10 years, hasn't he?
Big comeback, folks. Watch this space. Speaking of watch the space, watch the throne. Tomorrow on Good Morning America, Kanye West is going to sit down with Lindsay Davis to talk Kim Kardashian and fatherhood, social media, fashion, politics, and the Donda Academy. What the fuck?
One of my favorite. And so social media, you feel, is that more hurtful or beneficial to you?
Oh, that's one of my favorite questions this interview.
Wait, why does this look like a fake Zoom background? Am I crazy or is this... He's got the divorced dad beard too. That's fire.
I mean, we can use a car to rush somebody to the hospital, or we could use a car and accidentally hit somebody while we're rushing somebody to the hospital. So it's all in how we use it.
That's a $900 jacket, bro. Relax. You've just been introduced to Yon Gravy by America Deserved 9/11 Guy by Ethan. Yon Gravy.
Children.
He knows you already, though. Yeah, we beefed a little bit. But, you know, it wasn't really serious. It was a joke, but. Yon Gravy.
And I apologize for any stress that I have caused.
Good Morning America tomorrow.
I'm curious, what is Ye like as a dad?
Yay, exclusive. What does he want you to know now?
This one is going to get me in trouble.
The interview everyone will be talking about.
People are gonna be like, no.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. Okay, I'm excited about that for sure for tomorrow. Oh, what I was going to say is like, bro, the Democratic Party saw how much fucking clout Twitch was getting, you know, with all the drama that's happening on the platform lately. And they were like, we need our own. So they decided to put Ginny Thomas on a panel. You see this shit? Ginny Thomas is the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. For those of you who don't know. And she's like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Psychotic. She's actually fucking insane. She's bananas. I don't know how else to describe her position. Other than that. Anyway, okay. Valve? Oh, it's my Stream Deck. I mean, I put a pre-order in for like my Stream Deck's here. Murat's here. Like that, my address on it. Don't open it either. Oh, you're just taking the address off? Not my Stream Deck, my Steam Deck. Dude, I can't wait to play fucking Elden Ring on it, dude. Live unboxing right now? No, in a second. You got a deck? Yeah, I've been trying to get it for a while too. It took so long. Once I actually put in the purchase, it came in like 3 days, but I was on a wait list for like almost a year. Evet. Can we please see your deck? No. Not yet.